In other business news, analysts have sought to stress the importance of retirement planning as South Africans are living longer. This has changed the traditional dynamics around this type of financial planning. The country's youth is also advised to heed the call to start early. Owner of retirement lifestyle development, Wytham Estate, Gus van der Spek, discusses this with us. Good evening to you, Gus. I think our starting point really should be the average life expectancy that is set to reach about 77 by 2025. How does one start building a sustainable lifestyle after retirement?
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me on your show. Yeah, as you say, it's been an interesting decade or few decades. Recently, there was a report released that by 2050, the world population's average age will reach 77. Some countries in the blue zones like Japan and Switzerland have already surpassed that substantially. But we're dealing with very much a population of people that are getting older and older due to advancements in medicine and quality of lifestyle. Just gives you an idea, the people that are turning 77 today, when they were born in 1950, the average age was 46 years old. So it's a considerable amount of change that's happened since then.
Absolutely, but in an environment that includes reduced living costs, what then should take priority?
Yeah, look, the retirement statistics are not particularly good. You know, only 1 in 5 people over 50 believe that they've got enough money saved to retire. And then within that, 1 in 5 people simply have got nothing left to retire and have no plan. So there's a big a change that needs to happen in people's mindsets, and we need to start saving more towards retirement and taking responsibility for ourselves, you know, when we get to the retirement age. Yeah, there's obviously South Africa's got some significant economic headwinds, and it seems that you know, there's a rising cost of living globally. So there's a lot of factors to play, but that are there to play. But we really need to focus more on our retirement and start saving early to get there. Currently, there's a sort of general rule of thumb which says saving 15% of your salary for 40 years will get you to the number that you'd like to be at to retire on. Another one of the ways of looking at it is to take 300 times your current monthly spending to get you there. And these numbers are, you know, they become quite staggering. 60,000 a month, if that's what you're living on, is 18 million rand, and I don't know many people with that lying around. So it is definitely something that the earlier you start, the easier it is to get to your targets.
Those numbers do sound scary, and I'm interested in finding out how then the introduction of a two-pot system comes into play and maybe would be a destabilizer.
Yeah, so the two-pot system is a method of saving, and people generally there's a vast number of them. So it would take a whole show or a new show to get into all of them, but there are numerous ways of getting to your targets and seeing. You know, we're looking at the 10x survey, but there are many financial advisors out there that can give the right advice on this sort of thing.
You mentioned starting early for the youth of South Africa. When should that be?
Well, they say from your first job, you should save 15%. So, you know, if you start working in your 20s, so by 60, you've got 40 years of savings under your belt. Money grows. I know someone quite well that has saved themselves rich, and I think that for many people, it feels like there's that a little bit is not enough, but when you give money time to compound and grow over many years, then you'll see some remarkable things happening. There's compounding interest is a very powerful financial tool if you start using it early, because it's essentially the time value of money. It's money that sits in one place and grows and grows and grows, and each year it grows exponentially more.
Finally, is it ever too late to start saving for that eventuality of retirement?
No, look, I think it's never too late. There's the more you save for that moment, the more runway you're going to have when you get there. I don't think it's ever too late to start saving and start living in a more sort of within your means. I think credit is something that is too easily available nowadays, and people live in credit instead of living in savings. And credit is only good for a few things, like buying a house, for example, but otherwise it's something to be steered clear of, in my opinion. Over time, credit is the reverse of compound interest that keeps people poor. So the sooner you can get out of credit and start saving and compounding your savings, the sooner you're going to be on the road to retirement.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Gus van der Spek is the owner of Wytham Estate, talking to us about retirement planning.